Hi, it's your gal pal Eve Eden, and I really just felt driven to talk about growing up as a child and a teenager in Generation X in the 90s and being called Generation X, I should say. Um, our parents, most were baby boomers, so they came from a whole different type of era where their parents had to go through World War II and the Great Depression, and they had to keep up this image of a perfect housewife and a hardworking husband, and the kids had to definitely stay in line. So I think the baby boomers took a little bit of that part of it mixed with I want you to have the things that I didn't have growing up, and boom, you create an instant gratification monster. And let me kind of break it down to you just a little bit, and I hope I make sense. Definitely in the 90s, growing up as a kid and a child, there was definitely a certain mold in America, speaking from that point of view. And I just want to remind everyone, the United States, that growing up as a child and a teenager, there was definitely in the 90s a mold that everyone felt they had to fit into, otherwise there would be like great shame put on the family's name, or so you had to have the star athlete child, or the you had cheerleader daughter, or book smart, academically inclined child, dar, winners of the science fair, winners of the music contest, and you had to be seen as achieving something, but it was only an elected thing, a few things, so there wasn't like a variety, because like it was only molded for certain types of people. It wasn't really, there wasn't anything offered in my education that really gave me the freedom to create. So I did very poorly growing up. I shut down because I felt like I knew I wasn't fitting the mold, and I felt like I was bringing a lot of shame to my family. And I think that's when we start putting on different personifications and pretending to be people that we are not. Personifications, people, person. And I can remember just trying different ones on, because they always told me just be yourself, but they never taught me how to be myself. And I didn't fit the all-American mold, and I couldn't be really honest about what was happening inside my mind, because it would bring shame to the family if I was like developmentally messed up in the head or something. I believe there was a lot of that pressure on Generation X. So at some point, like, a lot of us, we just kept putting on these layers of personifications, and at some point it's just too heavy for the spirit. And some of us, we broke. It's really emotional to talk about, but it needs to be talked about. Generation X, we did fuck up. I don't blame my parents, because if I blame my parents, then that's just repeating the same cycle that's been done. So that has to stop. And I've already taken ownership of myself and already changing my self-behaviors and my self-awareness so that I can be a better person, and maybe I can at least touch one person out there. That's all I need to touch. This just needs to reach or resonate with one person, and it could change your life forever, if that makes sense. But I want to keep this video under 6 minutes, and I know that's probably clear as mud, but I hope it makes sense. Haha. Generation X, we just had a lot of weight, a lot of different personifications on our shoulders, and I think a lot of us are broken. And it's time to stand up and talk a little bit more about it. Thank you, all day.